Welcome to an overcast and cloudy Saint-Jean-d'Angely in Western France for the 6th round of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. Temperatures still not high enough to reach 20 degrees here, and we might even get a little bit of rain in this first MX1 race. It has been forecast throughout the weekend, and some was due to be here this morning, but so far yet to have it. But beautiful part of the world here, Saint-Jean-d'Angely, about an hour north of Bordeaux, about 30-40 minutes south of La Rochelle. A nice little marine town. And when we arrived here on Thursday, it was absolutely scorching hot, almost 30 degrees. It remained that way as well through Friday and Saturday, but a little bit cooler today. Perfect for the riders, perfect for the circuit conditions. In terms of MX1, Tony Cairoli currently on 203 points ahead of Clément de Sales to the tune of 24 points. Cairoli has taken 4 race wins so far. Clément de Sales still yet to take his first victory of the season, despite registering a whole bunch of second place finishes, 5 actually. And then Christophe Pourcel, who was on form yesterday, and hopefully he's brought his A game with him. He's another 7 points further back in 3rd. So Christophe Pourcel at his home Grand Prix this weekend, looking to try and grab that top step of the podium. Not going to be easy though. 1,500 meters, the length of this circuit here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely, about 80 meters to the first corner, and then it tightens up, goes uphill, through the right, through the left, and across the top there, behind those flags. And that's the view from the top end of the circuit. Pretty good crowd here this weekend. Packed into this circuit. And talking of Christophe Pourcel, we're going to go look behind the scenes at the Team CP377. Pro Circuit Monster Energy Kawasaki squad, which keeping it in the family really. Christophe Pourcel, part owner of that team. His brother rides for him. His father also operates in the background.
Last year saw the return of Christophe Pourcel to the World Championship. This year we see him as co-owner of a team that consists of him and his brother Sebastian. We caught up with the boys from the CP377 earlier. Not content with just being a rider, this year you're now part owner of the team. Is that much of a distraction? Are you enjoying it?
No, it's really good for me to be part of the team and manage the whole team like this. So I'm a little busy the whole week, but you know I have Jean-Jacques with me, so he's doing everything, and then I'm the rider also, so I gotta do my job the whole week, and you know, gotta go run and gotta go my bicycle, so every day. And just gotta give some call, but it's really nice to be part of the team and manage a little bit of everything.
In Brazil, you mentioned to me that this track hasn't been so great for you in the past. How are you going to change things this weekend?
You know, that's a good question. Maybe you can tell me that. No, I'm just kidding. You know, like you said before, I'm part of this team and it's a new team, so we're going on that track that hasn't been good to me at all, but you know, we try to put everything together to get back on top, and it's a new bike, so we're going to try to put this new bike at least on the podium. It would be awesome to be on the podium this weekend.
How has your 2012 season been so far?
2012 season was not easy for me at the beginning, but I'm pretty happy. I've got the title in the French Championship, but for the World Championship it's not easy yet. I'm not ready, but yeah, now the French Championship is finished, and now I can be focused on the World Championship.
in 2008, St. Jean was a good track for you. Looking to do the same here again this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. 2008, I was riding good for sure. So now it's going to be difficult for me maybe to win the GP this weekend, but I'm going to try. Now, you know, I'm going to try to do a top 5 this weekend, and then I'll see for the rest of the season. But for sure, it will be awesome for me to win a GP this year.
With both sports I have a close relationship because I know them since they're as baby. So I'm so happy when Christophe wins GP or when Sebastian wins French Championship. I'm so happy about this, and it's of course close relation. In GP we have a little more pressure than usual, but we can manage it because we are confident on the pilot and in the material. So with everything, I hope we can have a good result.
Et ça n'est pas terminé, le grand Richard qui se lance de David Philippe. Xavier Vogue.
So good look behind the scenes there at CP377 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Of course, a new team this year. Our 15-second and 5-second Monster Energy girls getting ready to get this race underway, along with our race director, Dave Nicol, of course. There's Gauthier Paulin. He had a good qualifying race yesterday, finished in 2nd position, but it was eventually Christophe Pourcel who came home just a couple of seconds clear. Christophe Pourcel, 377, the winner from the qualifying race yesterday on his CP377 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Narrowly heading out by 2.2 seconds, Gauthier Paulin, the official Kawasaki Racing Team factory rider in the qualifying race. Clément de Sales eventually came home in 3rd. He started in 5th position, found a way past Tony Cairoli, and then Cairoli tried to come back at him. But Cairoli just ran out of time, finishing 4th. Evgeny Bobryshev climbed from 9th position nice and steadily through to 5th and closed in on Cairoli and de Sales in the closing stages of that qualifying race. And Sebastien Pourcel, who started 2nd in what at one stage for the first couple of laps was a French 1-2-3, a Kawasaki 1-2-3 as well, with Christophe Pourcel, Sebastien Pourcel and Gauthier Paulin. But Sebastien Pourcel eventually coming home in 6th place. 7th was David Philippots on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Xavier Bourg was 8th. Rui Gonçalves was 9th. And Tanel Leoc started 10th and finished 10th ahead of Dean Ferris, who initially started down in 14th in the qualifying race. These are the times or the positions that they qualified in. That's what you're looking at now. Ken de Dijker there in 17th position. Started on the floor, actually, at turn 2. Picked himself up from 28th, got through to 17th, riding the new 450 KTM. Of course, still no Max Nagel at the moment, although he is back on a bike, and the earliest I think we can expect him back, talking to his mechanic, will probably be Latvia, like I say, at the earliest. The green flag goes up. Dave Nicol walks from the center of the grid to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side as the riders look at it. The Monster Energy 15 and 5-second board girls hoist the board aloft. We've got 15 seconds, and then the 5-second board will turn. The gate will drop any time after that. So we really are under starters' orders here. Stephen Frossard, though, 11th. He won the Grand Prix here last year, started 11th, finished down in 29th. Not sure what he's going to do here this weekend at his French Grand Prix. The gate about to drop, and a good jump for the two Kawasaki's up the inside. Tony Cairoli hanging off the back of that 350, and he tries to sweep through, but it's Xavier Bourg who gets there first. 1-2-1 on the factory Kawasaki, and they're grappling for traction at the top end of the circuit, but Cairoli's found a way through, but for how long? Because Xavier Bourg goes to the inside. Tony Cairoli just managing to hold on there, bar to bar at the bottom of the hill. Cairoli, though, just edging out on the Red Bull KTM. Up the hill they go then, over our ground camp, just buried behind one of the upslopes of the finish line jump. But Cairoli is who leads from Christophe Pourcel, who snuck through into second there. Xavier Bourg on the outside in third, and up the inside, one of the Hondas that might be, I think it is, Rui Gonçalves, 999 in fourth place. Then just behind them, Stephen Frossard. Wow, so from all the way outside of the left-hand side of the gate, Stephen Frossard on the Monster Energy Yamaha has positioned himself in fifth place as Xavier Bourg back up the inside of Sebastian Pourcel and goes back into second place. Sebastian Pourcel tries to fight back immediately though, so side by side the two Frenchies. Xavier Bourg 121 and the 11 of Sebastian Pourcel just need to be careful not to trip each other up. A little bit further back, where is Commander Sal? About sixth position I think he went through there, just ahead of Christophe Pourcel, 377. So Cairoli then, our lead rider, already out of shot. This is second position. Oh, Christophe Pourcel it was, in second position. So, thought it was Sebastian Pourcel there. Oh, back end gets a little bit wayward there, Xavier Bourg, as he follows through on Christophe Pourcel. There's everybody else. Mathis Caro getting a good start. Wow, the roof's off the back of those wheels on those 450s down that straight, down by pit lane. Really going to be bouncing off the body armour of the riders as they do their best to deflect that roof. Tony Cairoli, though, he's pulled the pin at the moment. He's away with this one. He knows he can't afford to give up too much time to the likes here of Christophe Pourcel, 377. And Rui Gonçalves hard down the inside of Xavier Bourg, cost him at least one position. As Frossard tries to go around the outside, he's positioned himself well, has Frossard. But Xavier Bourg there with the red helmet on the green Kawasaki. Just looks to see where Frossard was coming from next. Commander Sal there on the yellow Rockstar Energy Suzuki, number 25. He's down in sixth place at the moment, ahead of the number 21, the factory Kawasaki of Gauthier Paulin. So Paulin at the bottom of the hill, behind the yellow Suzuki, loses ground there, loses traction at the bottom through that right-hander. Bobryshev down in 8th, Pourcel, Sebastian down in 9th. Jonathan Barragan is 10th on the LS Honda. Mathis Caro on the STR KTM is 11th, ahead of Tanel Liot. Teammate to Commander Sal, who we see there on that yellow Suzuki, looking to make a move on Frossard. And makes it stick as Frossard makes a mistake on the landing of that jump. Highest point of the circuit on the entry to the waves, and Paulin going after Frossard now. Not sure what he's going to do. He's going to see basically Monday, tomorrow, whether he's going to need surgery on that knee or not. And if that's the case, then it may be that Stephen Frossard might have to sit out the rest of the season. He's going to see how the pain is, the threshold. Two riders side by side there. Dropping down the hill, Kenny Bobryshev tries to muscle his way up the inside of Frossard, and Sebastian Pourcel goes back through. Caro, 91 at the top of the hill, trying to go through on the inside of number 7, Jonathan Barragan. He might get it done at the top of the hill here. And that'll put him just inside the top 10, but Barragan fighting back, coming down the hill. Caro makes it stick. So Cairoli then, who was fastest last time around, he still leads here. He's got about 1.5 seconds over Christophe Pourcel in second. Cairoli leads then, Pourcel second, Christophe Pourcel that is, who was the fastest man on track that time around, 1:43.444. He's 1.4 seconds down on Tony Cairoli, our current race leader, as it gets a little bit congested at the top of the hill there in that tight left-hander. Rui Gonçalves is in third on the Honda World MX1 racing machine. And Xavier Bourg is fourth. Commander Sal, number 25, is fifth. Gauthier Paulin, 21, is in sixth position. As we're on board here with Xavier Bourg getting ran out there by Gonçalves at the end of the first lap. That was Gonçalves going through on third place. Stephen Frossard is 7th at the moment. Sebastian Pourcel 8th. Evgeny Bobryshev is 9th. And Dean Ferris going down. The Ice One Kawasaki rider gets caught there. And he's got Milko Podolzek in the rear end of him as well, number 32, on the HDI Honda France machine, whose teammate, Cedric Soubera, had a big crash yesterday and not starting the Grand Prix today. Didn't start qualifying yesterday. It happened in first practice. But that gap between Cairoli, our race leader there, 2:22, and the 3:77, Christophe Pourcel, looks to be coming down. throwback to 2006 between these two guys, the year that Christophe Pourcel battled with Cairoli in the MX2 title, the year that Christophe Pourcel eventually came out on top. And this circuit hasn't been particularly good for him, Christophe Pourcel, in terms of results here. Well, he was part way to rectifying that yesterday with a win in the qualifying race, leading every single lap, but here he is going after Tony Cairoli. These are the points races. No points for winning a qualifying race, just gets you a good gate pick. Of course, then for the race, you've got to have the right reactions, get out the start. Cairoli doing that the best. Christophe Pourcel just behind him in second place now. There's Rui Gonçalves in third place, the Portuguese rider whose Grand Prix we go to next week at Agata. So he might just be coming into form, although he is riding with an injured. He's not severed, but pulled the tendon away from the femur. Makes it difficult for cornering. And they've said if you have an operation, it's a couple months out, so he's just going to ride with the pain. And he's doing a good job of doing that in third position. So the Honda World MX1 squad of Rui Gonçalves and Evgeny Bobashev showing that they're prepared to ride through the pain barrier in order to keep their bikes out on track and keep their championship positions alive. Xavier Bourg currently in fourth place at the moment. He's got Clément de Sal, though. He's about a second or so behind him on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 machine. Just popping into view now. Yeah, looks like he might have lost a little bit of time there. Just behind him, Gauthier Paulin. Round the outside there, skating his way through that left-hander at the top on the loose marbles. By virtue of the ground drying out and the stones rising to the surface, just lost both wheels there. Did Gauthier Paulin, number 21. Very lucky to keep it upright and in sixth place as he again tries to go after the 25 there, the yellow Suzuki of Clément de Sal. 1.5 seconds a gap between Tony Cairoli and Christophe Pourcel at the head of the field. Trossard in seventh place. That was him just coming into the corner behind Gauthier Paulin a moment ago. Sébastien Pourcel is 8th, Evgeny Bobashev 9th, Mathis Caro hanging on to a top 10 position. 11th is Tanel Liot. Kenda Dijker on the new 450 KTM. New factory 450 for him, I should say. He is in 12th, and Sean Simpson is 13th. David Guarneri 14th. 15th is David Philipparts. That's him there, number 19th on the Monster Energy Yamaha. A winner here in the past, of course, a couple of years ago. Kevin Strybos 16th. Anthony Boissier on the TM is 17th. As Guarneri tries to stay ahead of Philipparts and go after Sean Simpson all at the same time. So sandwiched between the two Monster Energy Yamahas is the number 39, David Guarneri. Looking to go around the outside of Simpson here. Simpson a little bit too cute for that, though. Kevin Strybos, HM Plant KTM UK machine, down in 16th ahead of Anthony Boissier, Auguste Just, Loic Leonce and Charles Francois, the former European MX2 rider from last year, finished third in that series. As Xavier Bourg returns the favour, goes back up the inside of Rui Gonçalves in the same turn that Gonçalves railroaded his way through at the start of the race. So Xavier Bourg back into third place now. Dean Ferris down in 22nd. Jamie Law standing in for Nathan Parker at the STR Racing KTM squad. He's down in 23rd place, having already ridden an MX3 round earlier on the season, picking up points there. Jonathan Barragan down in 27th place at the moment. On board with Xavier Bourg as he goes after, and sets the fastest lap on this lap actually, goes after Rui Gonçalves. Gonçalves thought he had it covered, tried to come through on the inside there, but got muscled out of the way by Xavier Bourg. So Xavier Bourg, best Frenchman at the moment. Clément de Sal, 25, Rockstar Energy Suzuki. Coming under pressure from the factory Kawasaki of number 21, Gauthier Paulin. Paulin finished on the podium here in MX2 last year, but looking at the moment to try and find a way past Paulin, goes through on de Sal. A great bit of riding there then from number 21, Gauthier Paulin. As he jumped into the corner at the top of the wave section, found his way past the number 25 of Clément de Sal, goes into 5th place now. going after Rui Gonçalves in fourth. Number 999 on the red Honda at the top of the hill. That's Rui Gonçalves there of Portugal. He goes to the inside here. Paulin goes to the outside. Dessau goes to the inside at the top of the hill. And already Gauthier Paulin closing in on the 999 of Rui Gonçalves. Different line choice there as well for both riders, Paulin and Dessau. Gonçalves knows now that the 21 of Paulin is there, breathing all down the rear end of that Honda 450. Bit of a stretch to get over there this weekend, that uphill triple, even on the 450s. You need a clean line to get there. Little one or two spots of rain starting to fall here. Fortunately, I don't think there'll be enough of it to turn the circuit into a treacle-like racetrack, but perfect grip at the moment out there on the circuit. Hard and slick in some places like that, but the majority of the place is just perfect for racing. As Paulin switches from side to side, using every inch of the racetrack. Try to square off here. Rui Gonçalves gets good drive in the beginning part of the waves. I think he's through as well on the Portuguese. He does, he goes through. And then jumps to the outside, just to fend off the challenge from the Honda. The 999 of Rui Gonçalves, and now takes fourth place, does Gauthier Paulin. Xavier Bourg, his teammate, just ahead of him, though, a couple of seconds further on into that bottom corner as he enters pit lane. Commander Sal just a little bit static there at the moment in sixth place. Stephen Frossard having a good ride considering in seventh, with Sebastian Paul Saleh, Evgeny Bobryshev 9th, and the number 91 of Matis Caro in 10th. So now Leoc is still 11th, Kenny Dyker now 12th, Guarneri 13th, Philip Arts 14th. So both those guys have gone by. Simpson, who now sits in 15th position ahead of Kevin Strybos on the HM Plant UK KTM. And Anthony Boissier on the TM Argus just 18, 19 is Loic Lyons, and Charles Francois still hanging on to 20th position. Gap between our two leaders though. Tony Cairoli over the jump there, and 377. Christophe Pourcel just over 2 seconds. Cairoli not quite clean through that left-hander. Probably doesn't lose too much time though. But even if he lost half a second, Christophe Pourcel will be able to see that and will be able to respond accordingly. Two guys right at the top of their game at the moment. There's Pourcel leaping down. The infamous step down. Nice line through there as well. Not getting a heavy landing in the middle where everyone else is landing, where it seems a little bit softer. Gives himself a nice open sweep into that corner at the bottom of the hill as well. Xavier Bourg, number 121, in third position. Remember, he won his first ever Motocross World Championship race a couple of weeks ago, second moto in Brazil. That moved him up in the championship just a little bit to 8th. As Matis Caro, 91, goes through. The 4 of Tanel Leoc and the 9 of Kenda Dyker around the outside of the Estonian. So Kenda Dyker then has found a way, already past David Philipparts, who was 13th. Kenda Dyker now goes 11th as he finds a way past the number 4 of Tanel Leoc. Got Matis Caro just ahead of him, number 91 in 10th on the STR KTM. And Philipparts just struggling at the moment to come to terms with this circuit here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Remember, it's the 6th round of the FIM MX1 Motocross World Championship. We're in Western France, just an hour north of Bordeaux, as did Dyker muscles his way down the inside of number 91, Matis Caro. So did Dyker on a charge. He's about, good to see actually, about 7 seconds down on Evgeny Bobryshev, who's the next man ahead of him in 9th place. Here's a battle for 8th. Sebastian Pourcel, Evgeny Bobryshev. Stephen Frossard in there as well at the head of that group. On the right, as we look at him now, the black Monster Energy Yamaha 183. Didn't ride in Brazil, decided to rest his knee up just to give him a little more time. Really wanted to, desperately wanted to ride his home Grand Prix here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. So really putting in a hero's performance. He'll definitely endear himself to the French crowd, knowing that he's prepared to ride at all costs. 11, Sebastian Pourcel, though, trying to find a way through into 7th position as he looks to pass. Look at the roost coming up off the rear of that Yamaha, right in the face and the body armour of the 11, Sebastian Pourcel. But with 19 minutes plus 2 to go, Kai Rowley still leads. Christophe Pourcel is 2nd. Xavier Bourg, Gauthier Paulin, and Rui Gonçalves is 5th. Meanwhile, Sebastian Pourcel tries to find a way down the inside of 183, Stephen Frossard. This is a battle for 7th position. The black Yamaha there at the moment, currently in 7th. The 11 on the green Kawasaki, Sebastian Pourcel in 8th. Just behind them, 777 of Evgeny Bobryshev, sorry. In 9th place. That's the red and white. The factory Honda of the Russian, who goes up the inside of Sebastian Pourcel, who didn't get the distance on the triple. And so Evgeny Bobryshev then picks off another position, and he goes 8th now. Sebastian Pourcel, a double winner here back in 2008, and what was the perfect weekend for him. A hot sunny day here. He admits actually that now that he's got the French Championship wrapped up last weekend, he's now ready to concentrate on the Grand Prix. Probably not ready to win just yet, but if he could win the Grand Prix, look at that. Pourcel doesn't get the distance, Bobryshev gets the distance. He was on the left side, and as soon as he landed, Sebastian Pourcel knew that the Honda was right where he wanted to be. Bobryshev wouldn't need any second invitation from there. 6'11", Mial Kochu, who's about to be lapped here by Tony Kai Rowley. Oh, bit of a kick there off the top of the hill for Kai Rowley. Christophe Pourcel, though, who was 2.2 seconds down last time around, just looking like he's losing the toe a little bit here with 17 minutes to go. In a good position, though, to maybe wrap up the Grand Prix if he can put a decent second race together. And by that, I mean just edging out Antonio Kai Rowley, possibly. Here's Frossard, 183, and Bobryshev, 777, still fighting over 7th place. Clement de Sal just ahead of them on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki, number 25. And this actually is looking like it's starting to develop as Bobryshev loses his legs coming out of the corner. Looking like it could be what a Gonçalves de Sal Frossard Bobryshev battle for what is 5th place at the moment, being held currently by Rui Gonçalves. Because at the back of this group, there we see all 4 guys there in the same shot. We're going down to pit lane.
In the pit lane with Lawrence Blancourt of Yamaha. We haven't seen Stephen in his normal form since Valkentois, but today he seems to be making a recovery and progress with that.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, it was difficult with him in Brazil and Mexico. And now he's using a different taping, and there's more time between now and the injury before. So it's going better and better. But it's not perfect, but he's trying really hard. So
we'll hope we'll see him back up there soon enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Stephen Frossard putting on a brave performance there. 183, Monster Energy Yamaha rider. So just slightly different taping, that kind of thing. Doing anything he can to stay out on the racetrack and just pick up points and stay in this World Championship. But Evgeny Bobryshev, though, trying to go around the outside of the Frenchman as he looks to try and pick off 7th place from Frossard here. But talking to Frossard yesterday, wasn't sure how today would be and was going to monitor the situation Monday morning and see what he was going to do in terms of the rest of the season. But hopefully we'll see him in Portugal in a week's time. De Sal just getting over the triple jump as he goes after Rui Gonçalves. Gonçalves at the bottom of the hill now on the red and white Honda. De Sal, Frossard and Bobryshev there, 777. All battling over 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place at the moment. Sebastian Pourcel has already dropped 4 seconds on Bobryshev since being overtaken just over a lap ago. Kender Dijker, though, closing in on Sebastian Pourcel. He's in 10th place ahead of David Philipparts, who's moved back up to 11th. Mattis Caro is 12th. Tanel Leoc 13. Sean Simpson 14. Kevin Strybos is 15th. With Anthony Bossier, Davide Guarneri, Jonathan Barrigan, August Just and Lurk Leonce. Just over 14 minutes though. Remain here. 1 or 2 spots of rain that materialized at the start of the race seem to have disappeared as it brightens up out there on this Saint-Jean-d'Angely circuit. Kenny Bobashev not perfect with the hand injury that he has, but just like Lawrence Klein-Korkamp said from Yamaha just a moment ago, with regards to Stephen Frossard, there's been a couple of weeks in between races in which to get a little bit more healed and better prepared for this race here. And he certainly is applying the pressure. Here's Evgeny Bobashev as Tony Cairoli still only maintaining the gap at 2.3 seconds between himself and Christophe Pourcel. Xavier Bourg about 4 seconds further back on the factory Kawasaki. Back Christophe Pourcel this weekend launching or rebranding his fan club, walking around with t-shirts. He's got his merchandise actually installed just right next to the team truck. He's got a logo that looks like a W and then a T beneath it, but it's actually 377. The 7's in opposite directions. Got all kinds of things there, the glasses, the t-shirts, the hats, all the rest of it, but seen a fair few of them on the French fans this weekend. Xavier Bourg coming under pressure from his teammate now, Gauthier Paulin. So the 2 factory Kawasaki, Steve Guttridge is here this weekend. The overall boss for racing, for Motocross, World Superbike, MotoGP, all the, well, not so much MotoGP now, but certainly the World Superbike and road racing in general. Oh, Paulin just slightly offline there. Loses a bit of time to his teammate, but trying all he can to find a way past Xavier Bourg. Just under 12 minutes to go. Here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely, the first MX1 race. Round 6 of the World Championship. Evgeny Bobashev trying to get into the rear end of Stephen Frossard. They're still fighting over 7th position at the moment. Doing a great job is Stephen Frossard. Goes tight though. Bobashev gets to drive around the outside. Both guys triple. Bobashev has the right line going through the left-hander at the top of the hill. And he goes through and takes 7th position away from the Frenchman. His teammate on the opposite hillside coming under pressure from the 25 of Clément de Sal. These guys fighting over 5th place. So de Sal is ready to go. 11 minutes to go, plus 2 laps, of course. Comes up a little bit short, tried to carry a little bit momentum in that corner, but overran into the corner. Ooh. Just bouncing his way through those last waves was Clément de Sal. He's definitely got his eyes fixed on Rui Gonçalves. Clément de Sal getting himself wound up for his home Grand Prix at Bastogne in the south of Belgium, close to the Luxembourg border. That's going to be in 2 weekends' time in the Ardennes region. And he's trying to go after Rui Gonçalves. Yeah, definitely parks his bike down the inside. Good move there from Clément de Sal. He now goes up into 5th place. So Clément de Sal took a little bit of time in getting going, but he's found a way past Rui Gonçalves, which is just as well, really, because Gonçalves' teammate, Evgeny Bobashev, on the 777, has closed in as well and joining the party between those two. So it could still be a 3-way battle for 5th position. Xavier Bourg, meanwhile, still having a great ride in 3rd. He's about a second clear, or he was about a second clear of his teammate, but his teammate looking to still make a move. These bikes evenly matched as they head up the hill. Alfie Smith on the JK Gibbon Yamaha there. Outside the points at the moment, number 41. Getting lapped by the two Kawasaki's. Pourcel making a move here. Jumps it long into the corner, gives his teammate absolutely nowhere to go. Aggressive move from Gauthier Paulin. Xavier Bourg tries to respond down the next hill into the left-hander, but already losing 3 or 4 bike lengths on Gauthier Paulin. Paulin now in 3rd place. So this has been a bit of a hard fight for Gauthier Paulin. Here we see it. Once again, looks across. There was a 21 of Gauthier Paulin. Great on-board work there. Knew exactly where Paulin was. Not sure if he was going to get down the left side or the right side, but would have heard him anyway. As Christophe Pourcel, with 8 minutes and 21 seconds plus 2 laps, closing in on Tony Cairoli for the battle for the lead. And the crowd really starting to get into it now. The closing stages all the way around this circuit. That's Cairoli. There's Pourcel. Just got held up momentarily there by the back marker. Not clean through there, nor too was Pourcel, but he was able to run on and grab the dirt on the outside, dump the throttle and the clutch, get in the traction zone. Similar technique, similar line through the wave section. Around the mogul at the end of the straight. It's Pourcel, Christophe Pourcel, 377. Looks set to get within striking distance once more of Antonio Cairoli. Cairoli, though, normally this time of the race we see starts to wind it up himself. So it's going to take a very, very strong rider to close in. Talking of which, Gauthier Paulin there, 21. So we've got 3 riders almost on the same piece of racetrack here. We're going back down to pit lane to Pourcel.
I'm in the pit lane with Jean-Jacques Lizetti. Christophe has said in the past this track has not been so good for him. But great qualifying yesterday and a good first moto here today.
Yes, he has a good qualified yesterday and now he's fast, but the race is a race and there is 4 pilots for the win, and we hope that it's Christophe to win.
Yeah, Christophe Pourcel going to be coming under pressure from Gauthier Paulin. Oh, he is already all over the back of him. So this will push Pourcel onto the rear end of the KTM of Antonio Cairoli, who's got a back marker between himself and the 2 Kawasaki's. But when you think of how far back Gauthier Paulin was on these 2 guys just a few laps ago, certainly having a great ride and maybe even showing the difference between the factory Kawasaki and the 377 Kawasaki of Christophe Pourcel. 61, Aaron Bracker moves out of the way. Doesn't want to get involved in that battle for second position. And with 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go, this one is still too close to call, but certainly Gauthier Paulin looking good at the moment as he goes after Pourcel. Oh! Pourcel gets rammed out of the way there by Gauthier Paulin. Doesn't even look back to see whether he dumped him on the floor or not. He's got one thing on his mind, Gauthier Paulin. As we look at it again, he's doubling his way into that last wave and then just parked his way down there. Christophe Pourcel was very lucky to keep it up on 2 wheels. No acknowledgement, no apologies or anything, not even a look back. But the next time Cairoli looks back, he will see an eye full of number 21, Gauthier Paulin, who's closing in. The French don't care who's winning here, as long as it's a French rider, one of their own. And this time around, it looks like it could possibly be the 21 of Gauthier Paulin, who's going after Cairoli for 25 points here. Then victory in moto number 1. Oh, big scrub from Gauthier Paulin. Sets the fastest lap of the race, well, 1:41.80, 8:55. Cairoli that time around 44.4, so 2.5 seconds quicker than Tony Cairoli then. And the gap between them, where you can see what it is, but it was recorded as 0.8 of a second. And this place has just lit up here. Cairoli, he'll get his head down. The mechanics will be on the board telling him full gas, no rest. 25 points at all costs. Christophe Pourcel already being demoted back to third and losing ground on his fellow countryman. Doubling his way in, a nice combination there. Loses the front wheel though as he goes into that left-right combination. Not sure if he's able to gain on any time on that lap on Tony Cairoli. Certainly with a mistake like that at the bottom of the hill. Look at that, the KTM guys really urging on. When you just see the one mechanic, you know you're pretty safe. When you've got half the garage hanging out over the fence, you know it's time for urgency, time to pull the pin and go. Antonio Cairoli is going to try and do just that. It was never going to be easy here. Winning in France with such a strong contingent of French riders, Gauthier Paulin, Christophe Pourcel, Sébastien Pourcel, Steven Frossart, and the French definitely wanted a home win here. Absolutely packed in on the hillside there. And all credit to Antonio Cairoli, hasn't looked back once here. .42.099, personal best for Cairoli. That gap goes from 0.8 to 1.5 seconds, so he is starting to wind it up here as Tony Cairoli, but all that's going to do is light the paper for Gauthier Paulin, and he's going back after the Italian, using every inch of the racetrack. This first race here, FIM MX1, the 6th round of the World Championship, the French Grand Prix at Saint-Jean-d'Angely, just an hour north of Bordeaux, is really starting to take shape in the closing stages. Tony Cairoli, the 5-time world champion and defending champion, got his hands full at the moment with Gauthier Paulin, who's riding a great race here. Backmarker moves out of the way, goes round the outside of Cairoli, doesn't want to get involved. Christophe Pourcel is still in 3rd place. Xavier Bourg is 4th, and he's got a good distance between himself and Clément de Salle, who's there in 5th ahead of Evgeny Bobryshev 6th. Kenneth Dyker, he's moved up into 7th place now on the Red Bull KTM. Then we've got Steven Frossart, Monster Energy Yamaha. Rui Gonçalves, David Philippas in 10th, Sébastien Pourcel 11th, Mathis Caro, still good points for him in 12th place. Then we've got Tanel Leoc, Sean Simpson, Kevin Strybos, Boissier, Barragan, Guarnieri, Dean Ferris back in the points in 19th, and August just in the points in 20th place ahead of Léo Cléance and Charles Lefrançois. Final turn, minute and 40 on the clock. Tony Cairoli goes through. There's going to be 3 laps to go here in this first race. Starting to cloud over again. Might be lucky with the weather in the closing stage of this race. And Tony Cairoli doing his best to distance himself from Gauthier Paulin. That gap now 2 seconds. Kenneth Dyker though, number 9. Going after Evgeny Bobryshev, can't quite see him, but he will be able to see him as he comes over the jump. That's Bobryshev disappearing out of the corner shot. This is a battle for the lead. Oh, mistake there from Tony Cairoli. Got on the gas a little bit too early, asked too much of the rear wheel. Just broke traction right at the crucial moment. Back markers ahead in the wave section. There's Pourcel just going through in 3rd place. And Gauthier Paulin about to get caught here, possibly. This might be his last opportunity. Oh, Michal Kochu tries to get out of the way. Does so now. Gauthier Paulin continues to push on. We hear of how good the 450 Kawasaki is from anybody that rides it, and certainly Gauthier Paulin showcasing that here in this first race. There's Bobryshev. He's still down in 6th place on the Honda World MX1 machine. Oh, has to back off to avoid the back marker at the top of the hill. 2 laps to go. Cairoli and Paulin. That gap down to 1.5 seconds, so it was a good lap that time around for Gauthier Paulin. We could yet still see a showdown between the Red Bull KTM and the factory Kawasaki. Kenneth Dyker Riding as good as we've seen him in the last few years since getting on that KTM this year. They're in 7th position. Just under 2 seconds behind Evgeny Bobashev. But Tony Cairoli looks to have just put a bit more time between himself and this rider here, Gauthier Paulin. Oh, doesn't get good drive through there. Went a little bit too wide, did Paulin. Making 1 or 2 little mistakes in his urgency to get to the front here. Won a moto here in the Motocross of Nations last year, did Gauthier Paulin. Crowd still believe he can do it. Pourcel's not completely out of it yet, but with just over a lap to go, barring any mistakes from the 2 guys ahead of him, he's probably going to have to be content with 3rd place. At least it's a finish and it's a podium. And in the team report at the start of the broadcast, he did say it'd be awesome if he could get the Kawasaki 450 on the podium this weekend. Out of the final corner then, dropping down to the finish line, Tony Cairoli, as he completes 21 laps. The gap between him and Gauthier Paulin now, 2.2 seconds. It might be just a little bit too much to ask for the Frenchman, Gauthier Paulin. And Tony Cairoli has led every single one of these 21 laps. He's not about to give it up here on the final lap, that's for sure. Paulin looks over his shoulder, sees Pourcel about 5 seconds further back. Cairoli, the focus has to be doing everything right on the remaining half a lap here. Gets into the waves nice and easy. So too does Gauthier Paulin. Gets on the gas probably a little bit earlier than Tony Cairoli did, but running out of time now is Paulin. And I think now Tony Cairoli, it's almost safe to assume as he goes down by pit lane. I don't think there'll be any celebrations. Just a long look over at the pit board area. Looks to be safe here with 3 corners to go. Across the top. The 3 waves there. Just got the step down here. The penultimate corner at the bottom of the hill, the right-hander. And Tony Cairoli, he's on his way here for taking his 5th race win of the season. The checkered flag goes out, Antonio Cairoli wins Moto #1 here in France. Gauthier Paulin 2nd. And Christophe Pourcel, he rounds the final turn now, drops down the hill. The checkered flag awaits for the CP377 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider. And Xavier Bourg takes 4th here, so 3 French riders in the top 4 positions. A great day for the French, no wonder they're applauding the efforts of their riders. Clément Nassau over the line about 4 seconds later, he's in 5th. Bobashev comes over the line in 6th, just ahead of Ken de Dijker. Then Stephen Frossard, a heroic 8th place for him. Rui Gonçalves 9th. David Philipparts comes over the line now in 10th place. Dean Ferris there, finishing in 11th place. Just got a lap there in the end after that crash earlier on. Like Christophe Pourcel, needs to get back to the truck. Probably doesn't want an interview at the moment, but there you go. But top 3 needs to be done. But Cairoli and Paulin, that was a tough race for Tony Cairoli, mentally I would say. But 25 points on the board for him. He wins it in the end, 2.2 seconds from Paulin. So in a moment, we'll give you the official rundown. The results of this first FIM MX1 result, but no doubt about it, Tony Cairoli pulled the whole shot and went from flag to flag, as they say, and took victory just ahead of Gauthier Paulin. Just over 2 seconds, the difference between them. Getting ready to give you the official classification. Slow-mo says it all, and Tony Cairoli is victorious once again, the 5th time this season. He wins, not by the narrowest of margins, 2.2 seconds in the end from Gauthier Paulin, Christophe Pourcel, Xavier Bourg, Clément de Salle, Evgeny Bobryshev, Ken Dodajka and Stephen Frossart. Then it was Rui Gonçalves, David Philipparts, Sebastian Pourcel, Tanel Leoc was 12th ahead of Mathis Caro, 13th in the end for him, Sean Simpson, Strybos and Boissier, with Barragan 17th, Guarneri 18th, 19th was Ferris and 20 was August Just. Points in the championship. Tony Cairoli still leads, opens up that gap as well over Clément de Salle, who finished 5 places behind him in that race. Pourcel is still 3rd and Gauthier Paulin still 4th. As we look at the rest. But Ken Dodajka still 5th in the championship. Philipparts is still 6th. Xavier Bourg now moves up to 7th. Kevin Strybos is 8th in the championship now, so he loses a position. 9th is Rui Gonçalves. He was 9th when we started here. We're getting ready to go down to the podium. Here's Amy.
Tony, great to see you back on top of the podium after a strong first race.
Yeah, you know, for me it was important to get a good start. So I was focused on get the all shot, and it works. In the beginning, for sure, we had a good rhythm with Christophe, and it's always nice to have a race together with these guys. And Gauthier, in the end, was coming really fast, so I had to push again on the last 3 laps. But I'm happy, you know, overall for me it's good to finish always on the podium, and especially on a hard track like this. For me it's not so easy. It's not really my favorite type of ground, but I did a good race, and nice weather, also no rain, so the track looks also pretty fun and wet in a good point, so it's good.
Well done, we'll see you second race.
Well, the interesting thing there that Antonio Cairoli mentioned was the fact that these harder, slick conditions not really his favourite. But coming from Italy and Sicily, you would have hoped or thought that that was the case. But obviously spends a lot of time in Belgium now during the race season. Only goes back to Rome or Sicily when he has to. And despite that, though, managing to bring that KTM 350 SXF home in first place. Another victory for him and Red Bull KTM. Second in the race was the factory Kawasaki, the KRT racing team rider Gauthier Paulin. The Frenchman on home soil just ran out of time, was 2.2 seconds behind Tony Cairoli when the checkered flag fell to him. But I'm sure he's going to be pleased, but I'm sure he's going to say something along the lines of he took too long to get going. But here's Amy. She's with Gauthier.
Gauthier, you were closing the gap there on Tony. Are you enjoying this home GP?
Yeah, for sure. The track's really nice, so really happy to finish second. I get a good start. Actually, I had some mistake at the first lap, and then I was trying to catch back the time I missed. And but still, you know, like I said before at the other interview, Cairoli is really fast. He's a really great rider. You know how to win. And but still, second, it's good. I'm still looking forward for the GP and to win the second moto.
Thank you.
Looked a little bit disappointed with that second position. Good in terms of points in the championship, but yeah, you kind of get the feeling he sensed the victory was on the cards in that first race, the way that he was able to close down Christophe Pourcel and make the move stick here, and then close down on Antonio Cairoli. Just a couple of mistakes before the end at crucial moments allowed Tony Control just to eke that gap out again, and like we said before, 2.2 seconds the gap in the end as they came over the line between Cairoli and Gauthier Paulin. But he's looking forward to the second moto. Needs to maintain his focus he can still win the overall Grand Prix. And to do that, he just needs to finish ahead of Tony Cairoli. Third in the race was Christophe Pourcel. Here he is.
Christophe, a great qualification race from you yesterday, and we've just seen a really good first moto from you. A little clash with Gautier. Is maybe that what kind of kept you out of the top two?
You know, just the beginning of the race was fine. I had a bad start, and I'm pretty mad about it. But you know, we'll try to fix that for the second moto. And yeah, for the race, I was right behind Antonio, and he rode a good race. And you know, I tried to get the gap back and make the pass, but wasn't easy because it was really slippery. And then with Gautier I don't like that guy at all. So you know, we'll fight until the end.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you second race. Well done for finishing third.
Making no secret then of his feelings towards fellow Frenchman Gautier Paulin. No wonder there was no look back or anything else, and while it was firm but fair, Gautier Paulin just got on with business and trying to get through to the front as quick as possible. But a little bit upset then, you feel, with that maneuver from Paulin. Was Christophe Pourcel, but he'll be looking forward to the second race as well and try and work on something, maybe change the setting of the bike, get the reaction time back up and try and get out front and stay out of trouble in the second moto. That's going to be his plan. Of course, you can see that a little later on as well. Well, the water going down on the track, and before we disappear, let's have a look at what happened in race 1, MX1. The gate dropped. It was a good jump for Gautier Paulin and also Christophe Pourcel, but you just saw there he got squeezed. Wasn't so hot going through, held a nice tight line, came through eventually, but Tony Cairoli was who led. Xavier Bourg was there in second position, Gautier Paulin third, with Rui Gonçalves fourth and Clément de Saux in fifth place. Man on the charge, one of them was Ken de Dijker, finding a way through past Mathis Caro and a whole bunch of other guys in his pursuit of seventh place. Clément de Saux made this move on Rui Gonçalves, and that got him up into fifth place. But then the fight towards the end of the race, first on his teammate Xavier Bourg, and then on Christophe Pourcel. Gautier Paulin riding like there was no tomorrow, and that only first place would do. Steamed down the inside of the 377, and then he went after Tony Cairoli, our race leader there at that time, and had been for the whole of that race. Despite closing in on numerous occasions, one or two little mistakes crept in, and in the end, Tony Cairoli ran out with the eventual win, 2.2 seconds clear of Gautier Paulin. Christophe Pourcel was third, Xavier Bourg fourth, and Clément de Saux was fifth. Evgeny Bobryshev came home in sixth place, ahead of Ken de Dijker, who actually rode a great race to finish in ninth. Steven Frossard, likewise, just as impressive for him to finish in eighth. Then we had Rui Gonçalves in ninth place, and David Philipparts, he'll be disappointed with that, down in 10th on the Monster Energy Yamaha. That's it for now. We'll see you all in about an hour's time. Don't forget, we've got our live show coming up in about 15 minutes. My guests are Steve Dixon, Xavier Bourg, and Ken de Dijker. We'll see you in a few moments.